What if I told you that what you persistently assume and feel with conviction, you inevitably become? This statement might seem simple, but it carries one of the most powerful secrets of the human mind, discovered a century ago and now confirmed by modern neuroscience. There is an invisible law that connects what you believe about yourself to what life manifests around you. This law operates every single day, whether you are aware of it or not. And the most shocking part is that most people use this power against themselves. They assume they are incapable, unlucky, and unworthy, and the universe simply confirms what they have already accepted as their truth. But you are not here by chance. You are here because you feel, even if it's a quiet whisper, that you were born for something greater. You sense there is an invisible abundance trying to emerge from within you. And Napoleon Hill, author of the classic Think and Grow Rich, was given a secret by Andrew Carnegie that would change his life and millions of others. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But Hill went further. He understood that to believe, you must repeat, feel, and embody. And you can start this very moment. Science now proves the brain cannot distinguish between physical reality and an intensely felt imagination. Meaning, when you assume you are already prosperous, already loved, already victorious, and you feel the emotion of it, your brain accepts this identity as fact. It activates new neural pathways. It begins to transform you from the inside out. The Bible stated it millennia ago. As he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs chapter 23. So now I ask you, what have you been thinking in your heart about yourself? This is an invitation for you to learn to assume with purpose, to imagine with faith, and to embody a new spiritual and mental identity. Because what you assume with conviction one day becomes your reality. Comment now, I trust the divine process. This simple phrase begins to open internal doors. In 1908, a young journalist named Napoleon Hill had a meeting that would alter the course of his life and the history of personal development. Before him stood Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men in the world at the time. But Carnegie was not there to flaunt his fortune. He was there to reveal a secret that had transformed his own life and could transform the world. Carnegie looked at Hill and said, "There is an invisible mental force that governs everything a man achieves. If you learn to control this force, nothing will be impossible for you." This revelation was not just inspiration, it was a calling. Carnegie proposed that Hill spend the next 20 years studying America's most successful men, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, to find the invisible pattern that linked them all. Hill accepted, and this was the birth of one of the greatest investigations into the human mind, success, and the power of faith ever conducted. But the secret wasn't just in their effort, it was in their minds, in the quality of thought they cultivated. They didn't just wish for something, they already saw themselves living it. They assumed with conviction that success was already real, and so it became. Hill discovered they all had one thing in common, an unshakable conviction that they already were what they sought. Before they were millionaires, they thought like millionaires. Before they had results, they acted as if they had results. It was more than positive thinking. It was an identity assumed, a silent pact with the invisible. And this pact began within the mind. The world didn't change first, the man did. Hill wrote, "You become what you think about most of the time." This is one of the most ignored truths of life. What you repeat in your mind with feeling becomes your inner truth, and your inner truth shapes your behavior, your decisions,
your energetic frequency, and consequently, what the universe returns to you. This is why the first step for any transformation is always mental. You don't need to wait for money to arrive to feel prosperous. You don't need to wait for recognition to feel valuable. You need to align with the reality you desire here and now, even if everything around you suggests otherwise. Jesus said, "If you believe, you will see the glory of God." Belief precedes the vision. Hill understood this and spent the rest of his life teaching that success is first a mental construction, then a visible manifestation. Imagine for a moment that everything you visualize with emotion is like a seed being planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This isn't just a beautiful metaphor, it's a truth confirmed by modern science. Neuroscientists have confirmed that the brain does not differentiate between something you are physically experiencing and something you are imagining with intense emotion. The same brain areas activate. The same neural impulses fire. The same connections begin to form. What does this mean in practice? That imagining with faith is, for the brain, living it in truth. And this is why imagination is not a childish daydream. It is the silent factory of your reality. Everything that exists today, skyscrapers, smartphones, global corporations, began first in someone's mind. It began with a single image. This is why the Bible tells us faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews chapter 11. Faith begins in the imagination.
It is where we visualize what does not yet exist. It is where we assume with conviction that we already have what we seek. Napoleon Hill said, "Imagination is the workshop of the mind, where all plans for success are fashioned." He knew that whoever masters their imagination masters their destiny. But here is the key point. Imagination only becomes creative when it is accompanied by emotion. It is not enough to visualize, you must feel. Feel as if it were already true, because feeling is what activates the subconscious. It is the feeling that generates vibration, and vibration is what attracts. When you imagine you are already living the life of your dreams, when you visualize with clarity, emotion, and repetition, you begin to reprogram your mind. You send a new message to the universe. You stop begging and start declaring. And this changes everything, because the universe does not respond to what you want, it responds to what you deeply believe you are. Pause now and reflect. What have you been visualizing about yourself? What images have you been repeating in silence every day? Perhaps without realizing it, you have been imagining struggle, rejection, and failure. And the obedient subconscious is merely confirming these orders. But you can change this today. You can start right now to visualize a new reality with clarity. You can imagine financial freedom, perfect health, a blessed home. And you can feel as if you are already living it. This simple choice is the first step toward a new inner creation. There is a silent enemy that lives inside most people. It does not shout, it does not threaten, it does not present itself with violence. On the contrary, it disguises itself as logic, as prudence, as realism. This enemy is called mental self-sabotage. Self-sabotage happens when you repeat internally every day phrases like, "This isn't for someone like me," "I can't handle this," "I was born to struggle," "There's something fundamentally wrong with me." These phrases seem harmless, but they are mental codes, invisible programs that the subconscious mind accepts as commands. Napoleon Hill said, "Anything you accept as truth and repeat with emotion becomes part of your identity." And this is where most people go wrong. They use the power of repetition, of imagination, of emotion, but to create scarcity, failure, and rejection. They assume every day that they are not capable. They assume they are always on the brink of collapse. They assume they are small in the face of life. And the obedient universe responds, "Your wish is my command." Self-sabotage is a form of inverted faith. It is believing with intensity in what you do not want to live. It is declaring to the world through your thoughts, words, and emotions that defeat is your destiny. And since God gave us free will, even in what we choose to think, He respects what you emit. This is why Jesus said, "According to your faith, let it be done to you." And if your faith is in fear, limitation, and scarcity, that is exactly what will be done. The good news is that in the same way a negative belief is installed, a strengthening belief can also be installed. It all begins with awareness. Start to observe your automatic thoughts. Question them. Dismantle the internal lies you have accepted as absolute truths. When you think, "I can't," ask yourself, "Who told me that? When did I first accept this lie?" And when you hear in your mind, "You don't deserve," say in a firm voice, "I am worthy of all the abundance God has created." This intentional exchange of thoughts is the beginning of liberation. Neuroscience confirms this process is called paradigm substitution. Each new repetition creates a new neuronal pathway, and with time, this new pathway becomes the mind's automatic pattern. Comment here, "I eliminate all scarcity patterns from my mind." This comment is more than words. It is a command, a new choice, a new pact with what is true. Jim Rohn was just another young man trapped in the invisible chains of lack. He worked a simple job, earned little, and lived in debt. His mind was programmed for limitation, like millions of people around the world. But something shifted. He encountered a copy of the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And within that book was a key, a code, a new way of thinking. As Jim read, he decided to apply it. He began to do something seemingly strange. He assumed a new identity. He assumed with conviction that he was already a wealthy man. He carried himself like someone who was prosperous. He thought like someone who commanded his days. He spoke to himself as if he were already living the reality he desired. At first, it was all internal. The world around him was the same, but something inside him was changing. And this is how all transformation begins. In the invisibility, in thought, in a new mental posture. Jim Rohn understood that the subconscious mind does not need proof, it needs commands. And when those commands are repeated with faith, it responds with a new identity. Science calls this neural plasticity, the brain's ability to physically reconfigure itself based on new mental stimuli. What happened to Jim was the result of a conscious process of identity substitution. He stopped repeating, "I am poor, this is too hard," and began to affirm, "I am a wealthy man, this is possible for me." He imagined every day that he was already living in financial freedom. And more than that, he acted as if it were true. He made different decisions, associated with different people, accepted opportunities he never even saw before. The result? Within a few years, Jim Rohn rose from poverty and built an empire of knowledge, wealth, and contribution. He became one of the world's greatest mentors in personal development and success mindset. And it all started with a simple choice: to assume with faith until it became truth. This is why the Bible teaches, God calls into being things that were not. Romans chapter 4. Do you understand? The world will not wait for you to be ready to change. It responds when you change from within. The entire process of conscious manifestation rests on three pillars, three forces that, when combined, create an identity so powerful, so aligned, that the universe cannot ignore it. Napoleon Hill understood this over 25 years of studying the greatest achievers in history. And every one of them, without exception, used these three elements, even if intuitively. The first is a definite chief aim. We are not talking about a weak wish or a timid hope. We are talking about an inner fire, a conviction so deep that no doubt has room to reside. A definite chief aim is to look at a dream and declare, "This is mine. I will not accept less." It is this desire that magnetizes your thought, energizes your action, and convinces your subconscious. Napoleon Hill said, "The starting point of all achievement is desire." Weak desires bring weak results, just as a small amount of fire makes a small amount of heat. The second element is persistence in substitution. The subconscious mind does not change with a momentary decision. It must be reprogrammed. It needs new beliefs, a new identity. And this demands discipline. You must persistently substitute phrases like "I can't" with "I am capable." You must replace "this is difficult" with "challenges are strengthening me." Each new phrase is a new seed planted in the fertile soil of the mind, and the more emotion you put into it, the faster that seed germinates. Neuroscience calls this neural reinforcement. Every time you repeat something with feeling, you strengthen a new connection in the brain, and over time, this new connection becomes your automatic pattern. The third element is the mastermind alliance. Have you noticed that when you spend time with negative people, your mind contracts, your thoughts darken, your faith weakens? Now observe the opposite. When you associate with people who are already living what you desire, your mind expands, your faith strengthens, your ideas flourish. This is no coincidence. This is the power of mirror neurons. Your brain is designed to copy behaviors. When you spend time with those who prosper, your mind begins to imitate patterns of success. You begin to think, act, and vibrate at a different frequency. Hill said, "No mind is complete in itself." He insisted on the creation of a support group, a circle of people who strengthen your faith, share your vision, and propel your growth. This is the mastermind, the alliance of minds for a greater purpose. Together, these three elements create a vibrational field of immense power. A definite chief aim ignites the flame. Persistence in substitution builds the new structure. And the right mastermind alliance keeps you aligned with your vision. A paradigm is a set of beliefs and mental patterns that operates as an automatic system. It dictates how you think, act, feel, and react to life. But here is the liberating truth. Paradigms are not absolute truths. They are merely programmed mental habits. And what has been programmed can be reprogrammed. Transformation begins when you become the conscious architect of your own mind, when you stop repeating inherited beliefs and start implanting a new inner structure with clarity and emotion. Clarity is the first step. The subconscious mind needs direct, specific orders in the present tense. It is useless to say, "One day I will be rich." That is vague. It weakens the instruction. You must say, "I am prosperous. I attract wealth with ease. I live in abundance now." The mind understands now. It responds to what is declared with certainty. Therefore, write clear affirmations with words that move you, that carry emotional weight. Do not be generic, be precise. The second step is emotion. Without emotion, there is no reprogramming. If you repeat a phrase coldly, the mind does not register it. But if you repeat it with involvement, with visualization, with feeling, the subconscious accepts it as truth. Jesus said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." The key verb is believe, to feel as if it has already happened. Therefore, when you repeat, "I am prosperous," close your eyes. Imagine the bank statement with a positive balance. See the home of your dreams. Feel the peace of living in abundance. It is this emotion that magnetizes the thought. It is what transforms words into creative commands. The third step is repetition. The mind does not change with a phrase said once.
It changes with constancy, with ritual, with the daily commitment to repeat, feel, and live the new identity. Neuroscience calls this neural net and plasticity. The more you activate a thought, the more it strengthens as a mental pathway until it becomes automatic, natural, and dominant. And it is at this point that the miracle occurs. You no longer need to struggle to think differently because you have become someone different. You have replaced the old paradigm. You have reprogrammed the mind. You have assumed the new identity. Have you noticed how your energy shifts depending on the people around you? Keeping company with those who complain, who speak of crisis, lack, and fear, causes your mind to slow down, your faith to weaken, your vision to shorten. But being near those who think big, dream high, and act with faith, this ignites something within you. This is the invisible force of mirror neurons. Your brain has the natural ability to imitate the behaviors, postures, emotions, and even decisions of the people you associate most. This means that your mental identity is shaped, in part, by the emotional and energetic environments you inhabit.
Napoleon Hill called this the mastermind, an alliance of minds that share a lofty purpose. He said that no great accomplishment is possible without the cooperation of aligned minds, committed to the same vision. The Bible confirms this in Proverbs chapter 13, "He who walks with the wise grows wise." Wisdom, like scarcity, is contagious. Therefore, one of the most spiritually strategic decisions you can make is to surround yourself with those who already live the life you desire to live. Associate with those who are in motion, who honor abundance, who speak of possibilities and not limitations. These people do not just inspire, they activate a new frequency within you. And even if you don't yet have this circle in the physical world, you can create it in the digital world by watching content like this, reading elevating books, listening to mentors who already vibrate at the frequency you wish to reach. This, in itself, is a mastermind. You are, at this very moment, reprogramming your mental patterns by being exposed to a new model of thought. And the more constant this exposure, the faster your mind will mirror this new pattern. Science confirms what you see, hear, and feel every day becomes the reference point for your brain, and the brain begins to adapt your internal reality to that which it receives most frequently. Creative visualization is an ancient practice used by spiritual leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. But today, more than ever, science proves what faith has always known. The brain is shaped by the images you repeat with emotion. When you visualize a scene with clarity and feeling, your brain begins to behave as if it were already happening. It fires impulses, activates specific areas, and initiates the creation of new neural pathways. This phenomenon is called directed neural plasticity. It means the brain is not a rigid structure. It adapts, reconstructs, and reorganizes according to the thoughts and images you feed it. In other words, to imagine with emotion is to train your mind for a new pattern of reality. Napoleon Hill intuited this when he said, "The mind can achieve anything it can conceive clearly and repeat with faith." The Bible confirms the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew chapter 6. This speaks not only of physical sight, but of inner vision, of what you project internally every day. When you close your eyes and see the life you desire, when you emotionally transport yourself into that reality, you are sending a powerful message to the subconscious. This is important to me. And the subconscious begins to act. It seeks opportunities. It activates your intuition. It reorganizes your behavior because it is now convinced that that reality is real. Therefore, visualize with details. Don't just see, feel. Feel the smell of the environment, the sounds around you, the texture of your achievements, the lightness of financial freedom. Visualize as one who is living, not as one who is dreaming. This distinction changes everything. You do not attract what you desire with loose words. You attract what you reaffirm with constancy, emotion, and intention. And the most powerful way to do this is through a simple daily ritual. This is where theory becomes practice. This is where the new identity ceases to be an idea and becomes a habit. The practice begins with a clear decision. Choose one area of your life you wish to transform: finances, health, relationships, or purpose. Then, upon waking, assume this new reality for 5 minutes. Close your eyes and declare, "I am this new version. I live with purpose. Money flows to me with ease. Peace reigns in my home." Speak with authenticity. Imagine the details. See the results. Feel yourself inside this new life. Even if everything around you still suggests otherwise, throughout the day, act as the person who already is, as if there were no more doubt. This is the true meaning of assuming with faith, not as a deception, but as the anticipation of what is already true in the spiritual realm. At the end of the day, before sleep, repeat this process. Visualize, affirm, feel, and finally declare with firmness, "I refuse to accept any reality less than this." This phrase is a decree, an order to the subconscious, the final code of programming. There is a spiritual and scientific truth that many ignore. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. This is one of the most subtle and powerful laws of creation. The universe does not respond to your requests. It responds to your dominant vibration. And your vibration is defined by what you think, feel, and believe every day. Napoleon Hill asserted, "The mind attracts that with which it is in harmony." And the Bible taught, "As he thinketh in his heart, so is he." Proverbs chapter 23. Meaning, if your soul is saturated with fear, doubt, guilt, or inferiority, that is the frequency you will emit. And the universe can only respond in kind. But if your soul is nourished by faith, gratitude, abundance, and certainty, then the universe has no choice but to align with this new emission. This is why, more than repeating phrases, it is necessary to live as the person who already has. It is necessary to move with confidence, speak with direction, act with self-love, and walk with elevated vision. This is the unrevealed secret of manifestation. You already are what you choose to be internally. The external reality merely follows the vibration of the internal identity. Comment now, "I vibrate at the frequency of my new reality." This phrase is a vibrational decree, a password to the invisible. Throughout this text, you have accessed one of the greatest secrets of human creation, the power to assume with faith, not as a lie, but as the anticipation of what is already true in the spiritual realm. You have understood that imagination is not a childish game, but the language of the subconscious mind. That a definite chief aim, persistence in substitution, and association with prosperous minds are the pillars that sustain a new reality. Napoleon Hill dedicated his life to proving that what you think with intensity, what you affirm with emotion, and what you feel with conviction becomes real. Science confirms it. The brain physically reconstructs itself according to your dominant thoughts. Faith confirms it. If you believe,
you will see. Life confirms it. Whatever is nurtured in the mind, sooner or later, flowers in reality. But here is the most important point. The universe is listening. It does not hear your random wishes. It hears the vibration of your identity. It responds to the constancy of your faith. It aligns with your silent conviction. If you repeat, "I am prosperous, I am loved, I am capable," and you feel it as truth, then the universe bows to this vibration. It begins to organize circumstances, people, ideas, and resources to confirm what you already are. This is the wisdom of those who live aligned with divine principle. They do not wait for the world to change. They change from within, and the world has no choice but to respond. Therefore, never again say, "I want to be." Say with faith, "I am." You are a child of God. You are worthy of prosperity. You are the temple of divine creation. Assume this now. Declare with emotion, "I am the worthy receiver of the wealth I am attracting." Repeat it with faith. Engrave this phrase in your mind. Write it in the comments as a pact with the universe, because in doing so, you transform words into identity and identity into reality. Remember, you are not alone. There is an invisible force hearing you, guiding you, responding to you. Trust. Walk. Assume with faith until it becomes truth, because when faith unites with aligned action, heaven itself bends to confirm.